If you haven't downloaded and installed Office 365 on your computer, please do so now before watching this video. Office 365 gives you access to Word and Excel, which we will be using in this course. To begin with, open a new page of Excel like this. Since we are doing volume on the horizontal axis, that is the X values, they must be entered under column A. So enter the volume values under column A, and I'm going to put these values there. Enter the mass values under column B. So I have the mass values here. I'm going to enter them there. So once again, remember, under column A, you write the X variables, and under column B, you have the Y variables. That is the horizontal axis under column A and the vertical axis values under column B. To construct the graph, first, choose these values by dragging your mouse over them. Click on Insert. We are going to insert a graph or a chart, and we are going to click on the chart. And the type of chart we want is the scatter plot. So click on that, and the scatter plot has been constructed. Move the graph to a convenient place. Now the first thing to do on the chart is to give it a title. The title of this chart is Mass Volume Graph. The next thing I want to do is to give titles for the axis and write the appropriate unit. To do that, you saw when I clicked on the graph, a plus sign appeared here. If you don't see it, you can obtain that by just clicking on the graph. All right, on the inside of the graph. Click on the plus sign and choose Axis Titles. And you can see Axis Title is made available to you. You can edit it. Now, what do we have on the vertical axis? Mass, let's say in gram. Units are very important. And on the horizontal axis, just click on it and edit it. We have a volume in centimeter cube. Centimeter cube is the same as a milliliter. All right. Now we have done the axis title. What we need to do now is to draw the trend line. Please, in the graph, do not join the data points. You always do only the trend line. So click on the plus sign again and choose the trend line, and you can see the trend line is done already. Let's do a little more on the trend line. Click on the arrow on the right and choose More Options. And under More Options, way to the right, you find Display Equation on the chart. You don't have to do it, but that is an added option you have. Now, you see the equation written here. You can actually click on it and move it wherever you want. Now the equation is of the form y equal to mx plus b. Now what information does it give you? It gives you the slope value. But this is not how I want you to measure the slope of the graph. I'm going to show you how to measure the slope of the graph. All right, to do the slope of the graph, first you go to Insert. Now this is the Insert menu, and look for Shapes. Over here you have Shapes, and click on it, and you can see all kinds of shape that you can use. What we use is the straight line. So click on it and come over here, choose a convenient X value. I'm going to say X equal to 15 is convenient. So draw a line straight up to touch the trend line, not the data point, to touch the trend line. Now, you can actually do a lot of things with that line. Come over here and look Shape Outline, click on it. You can change its color. So we got the red color there. And now go back again. You can change its thickness. So go to weight. We can say all right. And you can also make it like broken line, like this. Now, once you have done that, copy this. See, this has already been selected. So if you go home and click on copy and then click on paste, that get pasted over here. Now bring it to wherever you want. Let's go to the next X value. Our next X value is 30 milliliter, and let's say, you see, look at the way I'm going to manipulate this line. Click on that and stretch it. It touches the trend line. So you got now two vertical lines touching the trend line. Now we need the horizontal lines to find the Y values. So what we need to do is paste again. So we have that line. Bring it over here. See, look at that the trend line touching there. And now hold it at the top and bend it so it becomes a horizontal line. And there you have. Now similarly, paste it one more time and bring it to here. Touch the trend line and hold it at the top and bend it and stretch it. There we go. Okay. Now we need to measure the delta X. This is the delta X from your first X value to the next X value, and we need to write it there. Now, how do we write it? We go back to Insert. Now, what do we want to insert? We need to insert a text box. Now, where do you find the text box? You can actually find it to the right, somewhere here. All right, there we got the text box. Click on it. And come back to the graph and make your text box, click on the text box and make your text box here. Okay, what do you want to write? We want to write delta X equal to, you understand the meaning of delta X. Delta X stands for change in the value of X. The change in the value of X is X2 minus X1. So I want to write delta X. Now click on Insert again. Now if you installed your Word correctly and your Excel correctly, you will have the symbol and equations on the extreme right, as I am pointing out. Click on symbol. Click on symbol and you see all these symbols pop out. And you can choose any symbol you want. I have the delta right here. So I'm going to choose that and say insert and close. I have delta inserted inside the text box. So I have delta there and say delta x equal to, what is it equal to? 30 milliliter minus 15 milliliter. I'm going to say 30 minus 15 equal to 15 milliliter. Now you can extend that text box like this. Now that's your delta x. Now once you have done this, click on the text box so that the text box is selected like this. Go to home, copy that text box and paste it. All right, there you got the text box. Now what all we need to do for delta y is bring over here and edit it. Delta y equal to, all right, what is our delta y? Our y value corresponding to x equal to 15 is, you got to take an approximation. That's 100, that's a 200. So let's say this is about 80 and this is about 300, 350, about 360. So I'm going to say 360 minus, what did we say, 180, 180. So delta y is 360 minus 180, and what is that equal to? That's 180. So that will be 180 milliliter. All right. So you got your delta x and your delta y. Now you need to come over here and write and calculate the slope. So what we need to do is paste. You have a text box copied already. So paste that one more time and there we go. And come over here. Let's extend that text box. And select that. We say slope equal to, what is slope equal to? Delta y divided by delta x. How do I write that? I go back and say insert, and this time I go to equations. Now where do I find equations? Look at this. Equations. Click on that pi symbol, and you can see all these kind. What we need is this type, x over y, and if you click on that arrow there and choose a box divided by a box type, and you can see that's given here. You got slope equal to, what is slope equal to? Delta y divided by delta x. And you see, it's now very convenient because you got some symbols here already. There's a delta here. So I'm going to, first of all, click on the upper box. Now, click on that delta, and you have that delta already. So it'll be delta y divided by, now click on the lower box, delta x. You have delta y divided by delta x, and that's equal to, you need to go one more time, insert equation. So click on that pi one more time, and where do you go? click the X over Y and choose that box over box and write your delta Y values. That is 180 milliliter, 180, not milliliter, that is gram. I think we need to edit that in here. That is delta Y is 180 gram. So there you got gram. And delta X is 15 milliliter. Now, what is that equal to? That is equal to 12, I think. So it's a 12 gram per milliliter. That's the slope. Now, I want you to show how the slope is measured like this for every graph. Now, I'm going to show you how you can save this graph and use this to construct any other graph that you want to do for any other lab or even for the same lab. All right? Once this is done, your graph is complete. Now, go to File and save it on your computer. So let's save your graph as save as. I'm going to save it on my desktop as book 1. All right. Now we can get out of it. Now, in order to do another graph for the next lab or even for the same lab, what all we need to do is open that book 1 that we have saved. So I'm going to open it. Now, what all we need to do is edit these X and Y variables. See what happens when I change the X values. I'm going to put in a new set of X values. That is the horizontal axis variable. Now you can see I put in a new set and immediately that has been rearranged here. And let's also put in a new set of values for the Y variable or the vertical axis variable. All right, I have a new set of Y variable values and I'm going to put that in here. And you can see the graph has actually been completely changed. These are now the new X and Y values. You can now go and edit these values. If your vertical axis is now something else, like, well, voltage or current, you can go and edit those. So edit your axis title, edit your graph title, and edit your slope calculation. You can see you can move these vertical lines over here and the horizontal line you can change. All right, that one over here, that one over here, there you go. And your delta X is now 20 minus 10. Now let's say we are now using temperature on the x-axis. So it's not volume but temperature. Oh well, you need the temperature in degrees Celsius always give the correct unit. Temperature, degrees Celsius. And let's say on the horizontal axis you have time in seconds. So that will be time in seconds. All right. Now, what are our delta x values? Our delta x is now 20 degrees minus 10 degrees. So delta x equal to 20 degrees minus 10 degrees equal to 10 degrees Celsius. 10 Celsius. And let's move it and place it there. And our delta y is 80 minus 40, 80 seconds. Always do not forget the units. Let's move it to a more convenient place. All right. So delta y equal to, let's choose those, 80 minus 40 equal to 40 seconds. And slope equal to delta y divided by delta x. What all you need to do is edit those values. That will be 40 seconds divided by 10 degrees Celsius. So you have 40 seconds divided by 10 degrees Celsius. That will be 4. What's the slope here? That will be 4. What's the unit? Second per Celsius. Will be second per degree Celsius. That's the unit. Now you have your next graph made. Now let's make that smaller so that it will not cover your graph. Now this way, once you have saved your first graph, you can use it to construct any number of graphs you will be doing in the course. All right. So especially for physics lab students, they got to construct a large number of graphs. This will save you a lot of time. All right. Now, if you have any questions, let me know, and I'll explain any questions you have in detail.